This is Alchemisted, and now I'm going to start talking about sort of why, for the past few weeks, the updates have been really delayed, or they've been kind of wonky. It's not because Metroid Prime, I can't record Metroid Prime anymore. That's been fixed, but there are three big reasons, not including the one in the previous vlog, why Star Trek Online... Well, that's one of them. I already said one. But there have been three big reasons why I haven't been getting around to rendering and uploading things every weekend like I usually do. And those are Stoked, the featured episode series in Star Trek Online, and SF Debris. I watch these every Saturday. I watch Stoke and SF Debris every Saturday, and I've been playing the featured episodes every Saturday, and it's kind of had to be a sort of a decision between, am I going to have fun or is this work? You know, is this becoming work? You know, and I don't want it to become work. You know, this is a hobby. I do it to relax. So, yeah. So, that's why. That's the big reason why the updates have been slowing down. Because they've been running the featured episode series, and there's Stoked, which the live show lasts for hours every Saturday, which I would suggest you go watch, because Stoked is a good show. And excuse me. And also SF Debris, which I would also suggest you watch, which is also a very good show. So yeah, those have been the three big reasons why productivity has hit a standstill. But you know, plus Mass Effect 3 came out, and you know, the reasons I stated in that video, the batshit insane reasons I stated in that video. So that's why I was really kind of aiming to have them done by this weekend, or this past weekend, maybe by the time you hear this, depending on how long it takes these to render. I was really just kind of hoping to have them done, to have Metroid and Rise of the Retro ready to upload. Doesn't look like that's going to be happening this week, though. And again, it's because you know, I'm doing this for fun. You know, I don't want it to feel like work. You know, I don't want to arbitrarily impose deadlines upon myself that I know I'm probably not going to meet, and you know, get all aggravated and pissed off when I can. I'm not going down that road. So that's why the update is late this week. So if you're waiting for an update, all two of you sitting on the moon, if you're really waiting for an update, I apologize. There will be an update next weekend. The featured episode series is over. So yeah, you can probably expect some Metroid Prime and Rise of the Retro to resume next weekend. Blame Mass Effect 3. Yes, there we go. That's it. On the subject of Star Trek Online, though, I would like to talk about something very bizarre that's happened in Star Trek Online, and that is the removal of the player's ability to zoom in up close to their ship. Apparently, somebody, we'll call this man Whiner, because it kind of is, was complaining that the ability to zoom in all that way was ruining their ability. I don't know if it's a he or a she, probably he, was ruining their ability to play the game in a cruiser. As somebody who has played cruisers from the beginning of the game, from the beta of the game, I don't know what the fuck this person is on about. You know, it's one of those really head-scratching things where somebody walks into a bar and I've seen this happen. Somebody walks into a bar and starts talking about the evils of alcohol in a fucking bar. You know? Why would you go into a game about space combat and spaceships and like highly detailed canon looking spaceships and complain that you could look up at these ships up close. Like, more to the point, why would you complain about being able to zoom all the way in at all unless you were zooming all the way in on purpose? You know, why would you not want, like, maybe I can understand, like, it's really impractical to be constantly zoomed all the way in, but, you know, you've kind of noticed that I don't zoom all the way in. You know, I only zoom all the way in when I specifically want to look at my ship and how pretty it looks, because the new flat screen I have makes the game look gorgeous. And I'll talk about the new flat screen later. Why would you not want to have the ability to zoom in? Because, I'm going to be perfectly frank. I'm going to be absolutely frank with you here. Star Trek games, from the very beginning, from the very first days, from before the first days of Starfleet Command, you know, from before Activision even got the license to do Star Trek games, you know, have always been about spaceship porn. That's what they've been. Like, that's what it's been. That's what they've been about. That's what they've basically broken down to. Like, go play Starfleet Command. Go play Bridge Commander. Go play Legacy. I mean, shit. Go play Armada. You know, go... Okay, maybe not Armada. But you go play Dominion Wars. You know, you see where I'm going with this. Most often, that's what these games have been about. Oh, for God's sake, go to Excalibur's website. Go look at the Facebook page for Star Trek Excalibur. Go look at their YouTube channel. You know, that's from the very beginning of Star Trek gaming. It's been about spaceship porn. And it's a really and it is a kind of off-putting way to put it, but it's because it's true. It's been about, like, pretty spaceships blowing shit up, and you know, it's kind of just something that's carried through, that's kind of just sort of been a basic understanding, and not even just with, like, Star Trek games, not even just with those. Star Wars Galaxies, EVE Online, you know. You get where I'm going. You're like, God, Rift Space? Is that what it was called? Star Rift? I forgot its name. There was another one that was essentially just the same sort of stuff. But Descent. Oh God, the Descent Free Space games. You know, the Colony Wars games. That's what this genre, you know, the space combat genre has always half been about. Is just pretty ships blowing shit up, you know. And like Nexus, the Jupiter incidents, you know, all through gaming history. And it's like I said, it's like walking into a bar filled with people who frequent a bar during happy hour and telling everyone and starting to preach everyone about the evils of alcohol. It's stupid. Like, if you didn't want to zoom in up close, don't do it, you know. But don't take that away from the people who do, you know, who do enjoy being able to zoom in and look around and look at their ship from various angles, because you can't do that anymore. You can't zoom in anymore. And they did this once before too with the ship tailor. You used to be able to zoom in up close to the ship tailor and see, how differently things looked from up close. And I loved being able to do that. And they changed that, and it really stunk that they did. But for just the ship tailor, I could deal with that. Not with the in-game view. Nuh-uh. That is bullshit that they changed. That they took away the ability to zoom in all the way. And I know people are going to be people. Star Trek fans are going to bitch. Either way, there is probably no fan community in existence that is more unpleasable than the Star Trek fan base. People are going to bitch either way. People were probably bitching about being able to zoom in all the way, and now somebody's bitching about not being able to zoom in all the way. My thought, my suggestion to Cryptic, is if they'd ever watch this. If you've watched this, suggest this to Cryptic, is to just, you know, people like me, we use free camera for a reason. You know, I prefer to use free camera. Whenever I played Starfleet Command 2, I would use free camera. You know, we use free camera for a reason. For those people who are using free camera, give us the option to enable, you know, that extended zooming. You know, to be able to zoom in up close. That's one of the reasons why I was using free camera to begin with. You know, so you can please both parties there. You know, please, you know, just give us the opportunity to look at all the pretty ships, you know. It's ridiculous. I really hope they don't do that for ground. Oh, God, God damn, I hope they don't do that for ground. I so hope they don't. They can't do it for ground the way the game is set up. And they shouldn't. I don't know who was complaining, but if I ever meet them, their head is going to meet... If I ever meet who was complaining so vocally about this that they had to change it, the back of their head is going to meet the palm of my hand. Just... I will straight up fucking Gibbs slap them, because that is ridiculous. That is absurd. That's like walking into a steakhouse and lecturing people about how evil it is to eat meat. You know? That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. What is the deal? You know? What is your malfunction? One more reason I'll be playing Excalibur later this year. Supposedly. I have heard supposedly that Excalibur is coming out this year. I'll believe it. I'm one of the people who was playing Bridge Commander when Excalibur was just going to be a Bridge Commander mod. So I will believe it when I see it. You know? But, yeah. Oh, God. It just blows my mind. I don't understand. Like, I don't get how... you can do that. Like, considering that is that's half the fucking equation, you know, of the space flight genre of games, is being able to zoom in and like look at all the pretty stuff in space, you know. I don't get that. I don't get how you can logically I don't get it. You're kind of missing the point, you know. Is what I'm trying to get to, you know, it's just ridiculous. And I know I've gone on really long talking about this, but it's just the kind of thing that, what the hell, you know? Like, seriously, go back and play Bridge Commander. Go and play Bridge Commander and you'll see what I mean. Like, or just go to, like, Bridge Commander Central. Type in, like, Bridge Commander file front into the address bar and let it take you to Bridge Commander Central and you'll see what I mean. You know, just like look at the pictures of the day. You know, I love taking wallpapers of my ship, you know, of various ships in game. You know, I loved using that zoom. It was so useful. So now in order to do that, in order to do something as simple as zooming in on your ship, on your avatar, while you are in space. It's not just a ship, it's you. That is your representation in the game world. So, in order to zoom in for an up close look at yourself now, here are the hoops you have to jump through. You have to create a demo recording, end the demo recording, close the game, create a shortcut to the EXE, type in a command line entry into the destination, pointing towards the demo file you just created. You did write down the name of the demo file you just created, right? Or you could use Rachel Garrett's tool, which requires you to go to a website and download a third-party tool not developed by Cryptic to watch the demo files. So you load up a demo file. Then you need to wait until the right point in time where your ship is where you wanted to take a picture of it. Hopefully you managed to stop it on the right time, because if not, you got to play the whole fucking thing over again until you get to the right point. Then you got to look around and make sure there's nobody around who can photobomb your fucking picture. Then you have to find the right angle. Then you have to take the picture, instead of just being able to zoom in on your fucking ship and take it straight up. And take it right there and be done with it. Absolutely, utterly ridiculous. For the hoops you're going to have to jump through now for such a simple functionality, just because a bunch of people were raising a ruckus about something that has been part of the space simulation genre since its beginning. I have no words. Well, I've had plenty of words up until now, but to describe these people, I have no words. Go outside. You know? Take a breath of fresh air. You know, it's... You're missing the point of the genre. You know, it's... I'm done. I'm off my soapbox now. I've talked about this way too long, but you get the point that I'm trying to reach here. It's just ridiculous. It is some seriously stupid shit that this is a problem. That this has been a problem for people. That people have had too much immersiveness in their game. That people, in a game that has next to no... I'm going to say, like, with respect to recent efforts by Cryptic, like of Bajor, one of the biggest problems with Star Trek Online is immersion. It has none. Like, of Bajor is really great, but... You know, there's never a feeling of immersing yourself in this fictional world, you know, unless you're creating it, you know, unless you're creating that feeling for yourself with a group of friends, you know, like the role players who can be found throughout Star Trek Online, who have a lot of fun and have a lot of interesting sort of in-universe conversations. And I never got the hate for them. It's a role-playing game. They're doing what the game is supposed to be about. Role-playing. You know, it's kind of the sort of thing that's something else that's blown my mind about Star Trek Online. Is just the hatred for role-players who are doing what the game was developed to be. It's an MMORPG. That's what the game is about. Role-playing. It's a role-playing game. What is the problem? You know, it's... And one of the contributing factors to that, I feel, has always been the lack of immersion. One of the reasons why role players kind of have to like find like little corners of the map to role play in, so that they don't get interrupted by trolls or just random players who have never played and who have never role played a day in their lives, and are just bewildered by people who are taking advantage of what the game was set up to do, and role playing these characters they've created in this fictional world that they love. And if you've been watching Rise of the Red Shirt, I love to role-play things as well. When I play Rise of the Red Shirt, generally my responses to dialogue and such, I'm generally projecting, you know, my character's like what my character would say, or what he's thinking. You know, when he's like, oh, that Like when he's like looking at something, he's going, "Oh, you gotta be kidding me, really?" You know, that sort of stuff. I'm generally projecting what my character is thinking through my commentary. So I do a fair bit of role playing myself, and I've been kind of reluctant to join these groups. I imagine a lot of people have been kind of reluctant because of the constant trolling they get. But one day it's something that I would like to see is like the Star Trek Online realize its potential as a role-playing game. What it was set up to be, what the intention was for it to be. For it to realize its potential as a role-playing game where people will actually role-play in it and not be constantly, and not constantly have to be like afraid of assholes like ruining their fun because those people couldn't understand or wrap their heads around why they would be having fun in this matter. I think that's what I've been trying to say. I don't know. It's late. It's late, and I still have a lot more to talk about in terms of all the shit I've been through this year with my computer. But yeah, those are the reasons for the delays, and a couple of things that have just been blowing my mind lately. Oh God. Ugh. So tired, but I will persevere because I have at least one more vlog to record. But if you guys don't see that one, I will see you guys later. So, later.